18 applicants have filed for the vacancy on the Montgomery County Board of Education, which was created when longtime board member Pat O'Neill passed away this past September. Ms. O'Neill served on the board for over 20 years and was a mainstay and chaired the board during many of those occasions. Mark, there are many fine candidates who volunteered for the District 3 seat, some of whom ran for the school board in the last election. One of them is our very own 21 This Week panelist, Lori Halverson, who served on the State Board of Education in 2016 and 17. So how is this decision going to be made?
Well, it's made by the school board, so they will be sort of picking their new colleague, and that's the process. It's actually the way the law has been for a while.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of impressive candidates.
Sure.
Anil Chowdhury is one. Ana Sol Gutierrez is another. Lori, of course, is one. There are quite a few candidates. I hope they do a vetting process. But Mike, we saw this over in Loudoun County, where education became a fulcrum of for the election that was being held, and the focus was on the decisions that the Board of Education was making. So as important as the school board is, shouldn't the voters of Montgomery County determine who's going to fill this position and not have it be filled by the organization itself? I mean,
typically, I would say that's yes, and they'll get that opportunity. The challenge you have is, and we had this when I was president of the county council when Marilyn Praisner passed away. You have a time when you actually need to get someone back in to represent that person and to actually put on and duly run an election and try to get participation in that election in a time frame that allows you to then fill the seat for representation becomes a real challenge. And so I think, especially if you look at the Board of Education, on the one hand, you'd say that'd be great. On the other hand, if you look at the turnout and you look at the voter percentages that vote in the Board of Education, you probably would get very, 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 very low turnout, and you wouldn't get very much participation, and it would take a lot longer to fill the seat, and it would cost a lot of money, as opposed to doing it now and then being able to follow up with the next election. The challenge that happens here is, because of the timing of this, it's going to look like it's a little odd because you've got an election that's coming up, and couldn't we just roll this into that? But you have rules and laws in place to already govern how this happens. It just happens to be kind of the serendipity of the timing that makes that look odd. And so that's the challenge with this one. And so you can't really go back and kind of change the law to conform to the 6 months when this happened to happen this time, because you've got to have a process in place that recognizes that doesn't happen the other 95% of the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I took the way around that one. Perfect.
Yeah. You circled the wagons there, but I mean, I still think that the voters should have an opportunity to,
and they will,
Yeah,
and they will. And I think that's an important point.
And I think you described it that voters are putting a lot more attention on school board elections. The heat has been moved up immeasurably, not just in Virginia, but in Maryland as well. So they're paying close attention.
In light of that, I'm impressed that there were 18 people who actually put their name in the ring. I mean, if you look at what's happening to the board members in Loudoun County, where they're having recall votes and people are resigning, I mean, I think they're going to have a really hard time trying to find people to run when you look at Loudoun County for the next election. And so I think that there are 18 people who are willing to kind of put their hat in the ring for a job that's not particularly well compensated, that puts them in the frying pan most of the time. I'm impressed. I'm not sure I'd put my name in the ring for that.
well, I mean, there's all motivations. I mean, obviously, if whomever is selected will be running as an incumbent in the next election, and that does speak to their ability to be reelected. And I just think that when you look at the number of people and some of the qualifications of people, again, I said Ana Sol Gutierrez, who was a delegate for a long time,
and was a board member, and was a member of the board, and
a former board member, and who also run for county executive. I mean, you've got quality people running, so it's not because they're faint-hearted. So.